everyone. Welcome to another episode of Creative Belief. This podcast is a curated collection of conversations with creatives who believe that creativity can change the world. My name is Alex. I get to be one of the hosts of the show, and I'm here with my buddy and my business partner, Josh. Josh, how's it going today?
Hey, man, it's going pretty good. Excited about our guest today. Somebody else from Central Illinois, which is, my stomping ground. So excited about that.
Yes, an alliance forged in the cornfields of Central Illinois. Today on the show, we've got TJ Jones with us. TJ is an Illinois native, and he now calls Indiana home, thankfully. And TJ is the head of home concierge at Neighbor Serve, a local company here based in the Indianapolis area. TJ, dude, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're super pumped to have you here and to get to hear a little bit of your story.
Yeah, TJ, thanks for hopping on with us today. Excited to hear a little bit about the upbringing, especially being another Central Illinois kid myself. Would love to hear a little bit about your backstory, a little bit about like where you grew up, some of the things that may have exposed you early on to just like creativity in general, and what kind of drew you into that, and what kind of has led you to where you are today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks again for having me. And yeah, I love to hear that you're from Central Illinois, Josh, because I think you'll just connect with a lot of things that maybe I share. But so I'm from a small town called Monticello, Illinois. Everyone here in Indiana, when I say Monticello, they interrupt me and think I'm going to say Monticello, Indiana. But I grew up in a town of 6,000 people. I had 138 kids in my graduating class. I always tell people it's a town where you drive to County Market, you wave at everyone you pass, and you see 3 to 5 people at the store, and you're at the store for a few hours because you have so many conversations. Yep. Just had an awesome childhood, to be honest. I love small town. I say if you could describe me in one word, it's probably Midwestern, for better or for worse. I grew up in a pretty entrepreneurial family as far as, so my grandfather, we call him Phee, P-H-E-E. Phee, he's drafted Vietnam, didn't have the opportunity to go to college. Father passed away when he was young. Really battled, a childhood that maybe I can't connect with. And it started or been a part of 10 to 15 different companies. So I had the opportunity to maybe see, I didn't see all the maybe hardships of the early days of when he was building. His main focus in his career was a company called Jones and Thomas, and it's a marketing agency. So you guys will probably dig. In Decatur, Illinois, got up to, they probably had 35, 40 people when I was little, and they had a cool office, and my dad worked there. And, so that was a really cool aspect for me to see grow up, and like my dad and my grandpa working together. My dad is an extremely talented, career marketer. And so I just grew up like that was my world. I followed my grandpa around, followed my dad around, and got to go to Christmas parties at Jones and Thomas. And so that was kind of my first introduction to, creativity being forged with entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And now my dad, he's still in marketing. He's going to love, that I had the opportunity to talk to you guys. He leads marketing and, some operations at a company called First Light USA, tactical flashlight company. And so I'll kind of get into maybe I'm sure throughout my, journey and path with entrepreneurship, and I would say my relationship with the word for better or for worse. But yeah, that's kind of my upbringing, marketing, entrepreneurship, and also played baseball from the time I was 4 through college. So all those things just being merged together from a competitive entrepreneurial standpoint.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do have to ask, so your grandpa's name, what you guys call him, Phee, where did that come from? Because I'm always grandparents, how they come to be.
Yeah, so I didn't call him that when I was little. I'm the one of the older grandchildren. I have a pile of all boys of cousins, and well, the older segment boys and some younger girls now that are, we span from like 6 to, oh boy, yeah, around my age. So it's fun.
Wow.
But yeah, I called him Pop, and I still call him Pop. But my dad always referred to him as Fee, and I don't the story like I can't even tell it correctly. I won't even try. It like evolved from so many different names,
Yep.
and then it just kind of stuck on Fee. And so a lot of my friends are. I mean, I grew up like this is kind of a maybe I think it's cool. Some people might think it's strange, but I like grew up and I would go stay even till I was like 18 years old. I go stay the night at my grandparents. Like they lived in the country, had a pond, a pool, and like I would just go stay with them, spend a lot of time with them. My friends would go. So a lot of my friends are really close with my grandparents, and they all refer to them as Fee. And so like just kind
That's
of
awesome.
the evolution I can't properly explain, but it
Yeah.
took many years of evolution to get there.
I do like that's a similar story in our family. Like my
Yeah.
wife's dad I think he had decided he was going to be called Gramps. Our son was born, as he starts talking, he's singing to him. He sings a song. And there's this part in the song where he goes like bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. And so our son just picked up on
Oh,
calling him Bum Bum.
yeah.
And
I
so
like it.
he's just called Bum Bum now. And now it's evolved. It was Bums,
Yeah.
Bumsy Bear. Like our kids have called him all these evolutions.
Yeah, that's funny.
But like it's just so fascinating how some of those names come to be and stick and are part of our family like history. So TJ, I want to talk about entrepreneurship and the intersection of entrepreneurship and creativity with you, because I feel like you and I had coffee a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a creative endeavor. And I don't think many people would often say entrepreneurs, they would label them as creatives, right? Unless they're starting a traditional creative enterprise. But I think that entrepreneurship is like one of the most creative endeavors because you literally are just figuring out how to solve problems nonstop every single day. So let's talk. I want to hear your perspective on that, on entrepreneurship and creativity and kind of how those worlds have collided for you throughout your career.
Yeah. Fascinating conversation to have. And one I'm pretty passionate about, so I'll try not to be too long-winded. But when you think about the word creativity, like obviously at the core of that is creating. And in today's world, like when I hear creativity, I think of brands like yours, like everything from creating a logo, basic creating a logo to creating a website to brand strategy, etc. But when I think about like creating something, that could be that could be a nonprofit, it could be a product. So I think I might be a little bit outside of the normal guest here, but I do think that there's such an intersection. And so the example I'll give is when I was in college, I went to North Central College. I played baseball, and I was on a fishing trip with my dad. My grandpa Fee went for the first time in 1975. They did this river trip, and I went and did the river trip with my dad. Kind of like a sacred trip in our family. I hope to do the same with my kids. And my dad was filleting a fish on a rock, and I just told him, I was like, "Hey, I feel like I have there's a better way to do this. Like, you're a 50-year-old man filleting a fish on a rock in a river. Like, this isn't going to work out." And I just said, "Hey, why don't we build like a durable, portable cutting board?" And my dad is someone who, like, you kind of know if he thinks, like, if he thought my idea was bad, he would have just told me, which I respect a
Right.
lot. And so he drove all the way home 8 hours. And I remember I just Googled, like, what do people use to not just fillet a fish, but like in a camp kitchen environment, etc. So like my creative juices are flowing of like,
Yeah.
what could this look like? And so I just kind of applied all my classes to what became Slab Outdoors. And so we built the slab. My dad was super helpful, my grandpa as well, but invented portable, durable cutting surface, kind of like overbuild it. So like the Yeti for cutting boards. I think a lot of my teammates and friends were like, "Why are you doing this?" Which is fair. And I think also at the core of a lot of creative things, that anything creative, there's probably a point where people are like, "What are you doing?" Like, it's kind of your own like space and segment of your mind. And this is probably one of the most creative like processes I've been through. Is I had to find a manufacturer. I had to understand material. I understand design. And then I had to get into branding, and like I can do, I think delegating is really hard for me, but also other Midwesterners, like they just kind of want to do it themselves or they're too afraid to ask for help. Uh, and like I knew I can't, this brand needs to be like elevated. I don't have the expertise to do that. And so I guided someone, they helped me create the logo, et cetera. And so built that through college and up to, we had 9 or 10 products from some clothing to the actual slab cutting board. Um, and that was my really like introduction to, hey, entrepreneurship is like, I have a lot of thoughts on the word. It's glamorized, misused in my opinion. I kind of compare it to like, you run a marathon, every mile there's someone giving you water or food. There's people cheering for you. In entrepreneurship, like we just don't nurture the people the way that you would
Yeah.
someone running a marathon, which I think is wrong. And yeah, the word is misused, but like entrepreneurship and creativity are essentially the same thing in a lot of ways. So that was kind of my introduction of like, we are taught in a lot of ways growing up to maybe not dive into creativity as much, like just stay the course, stay in your lane. And that was such a formidable like experience for me to just like go do something like bizarre,
Yeah.
kind of strange. And so I dove into, starting Slab and building that through college. And that was really for me like such a creative outlet and experience that has led to, some other things in my career and just my self-confidence, etc.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love how that is birthed out of, I think I've mentioned this a lot, is like sometimes, and it's not a bad thing. Like sometimes creativity is almost birthed out of like this selfishness, in the sense of like, I see a need, or I see something that can be more efficient, or I see something that I can do or add to this. And it's like, that's awesome. And like, how cool is it to see like, it's almost like this spark then ignites inside of you, right? Because like you were saying, like you're already on the trip home, and you're just Googling, you're trying to already solve the questions that you have going and that you're forming, and all these things just to get this thing going. And you mentioned like your friends and people are like, why are you even doing this? And it's like, that's part of the process too. Like we always have people, and sometimes it's valid, and you're like, sometimes you need those people to be like, no, seriously, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And other times it can help you kind of course correct, or it can just remind you of like why you are doing it. Like, hey man, like this was a great trip for me and my family. Like it's just a really cool thing. And it just really birthed out of that. And I think a lot of the times things that are so valuable are things that are so personal and intimate
Totally.
to the creator, to the entrepreneur, to the, the person that has like really just taking on that brand or that story or that product or whatever it might be. Because then you go about it in a way that is entirely different. It's not just about selling a product, or it's not just about, hey, we offer this service, but it's so important to you. And you see the value in it, and you, created this thing, and you see how important it can be, and the change and the things it can do to the world around you. And so you want people to have it, right? Like, and it's such a cool way to see how creativity and how these ideas, how solving problems just kind of ignites us in this way that almost like spurs us to like, no, I have to do this, like, why am I doing this? It's like, I feel like I have to do this. Like it's just so ingrained inside of me. Like
Totally.
I can't not do it.
Yeah, there's a podcast that I would recommend to everyone. Andrew Huberman is the host, but then he had a guy named Morgan Housel on who wrote a book called The Psychology of Money. I haven't read the book quite yet, but they talk about like humans at our core, that we want two things. And we might stray away from these things, but a lot goes into these two words, but it's pursuit and independence. So like you pursue something, a lot of times, Josh, that's a problem. Like you see a problem and you just like pour yourself into it. And how does this make the world a better place than when I got here.
Yeah.
And then independence is just like the optionality to choose. And that connects to, family, faith, etc. But I think about that a lot as far as pursuit is actually probably a better word than like entrepreneurship, for
Sure.
example, of like what
Yeah.
problem, like Alex, when we sat down, I was like, you're pursuing a problem for all the right reasons and like the intentionality behind your pursuit. So I listened to that maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and I feel like it's kind of rewired the way I think about, what we're all chasing.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think there's something in that too that you talked about when you're talking about starting Slab, was also this idea in that pursuit of like, I didn't know how to do everything. And so I pursued people who knew how to do branding, who knew how to, build all these different things, and invited them into my pursuit, but wanted to like use their expertise. And I think that's something that, that there are folks in what may call themselves entrepreneurs, the creative space, really struggle with sometimes, is that like, hey, I don't know everything. And so I'm going to bring in really talented people. They feel like they've got to like white knuckle it, know everything, and know how to do it, rather than just say, I'm going to bring in really smart people who are good at what they do. And I think that's something we can all learn from, regardless of our field, is that like, we don't have to know everything. Like, we don't have to be, I think, the generalists that we've been told maybe we need to be when starting something new or pursuing a new endeavor. We need to be really good at the thing we're really good at, which for you is like seeing a problem and coming up with kind of a vision for how to solve that. And then we need to bring the right people in to help us solve that problem with the skills and gifts and talents that they bring to the table.
Yeah, someone, as CEO of this is going to sound like a not creative role, but CEO of a large financial firm here in Indianapolis, which I think someone hears finance or like financial firm, they think like bureaucracy or like staying in your lane, red tape, etc. And he's actually probably one of the most creative people I've met in Indianapolis. He said, I was explaining that delegation's like hard for me. I think I've improved upon it, but he said, look, you get someone 80%, you find the need, like, what do I need someone to do? You get them 80% of the way there, and then you let them go. Like, you let them use their imagination and their talent and their creativity, and they're likely going to be better at it than you. If you, do your due diligence and have those conversations and put them in place and give them the needs to succeed, like, and then get out of their way. And so while that's difficult for me, I do think there's just so much value in that of when I think of like parenting in a way too, of you want your kids to, I have a 2.5-year-old. And so I think about like, I don't want to tell him to stop all the time. Like, hey, stop doing that. I have to when he's, leaping off the couch and things, but like,
right.
You want people to be curious and lead with their curiosity and creativity. But at the same time, you have to rein them in every once in a while, but like finding that balance is difficult, but super important.
Yeah, man, I think that part of letting go, and especially like as you related that to parenting, I think that's so true. I think we're all dads. We all have had those experiences of like, we want our kids to grow and thrive and become their own independent people. But sometimes as a parent, like, it's just so hard for me to get out of the way and let them do the thing and figure it out and experience it, and often prove me wrong that like they're actually capable of far more than I give them credit for. Man, our son, he's 9 and like just constantly blows me away with the things he's capable of, that I'm like, wait, buddy, like, I'm not sure if you're ready for that. And he's like, no, just like, let me do it. And I think that's so true in having led teams, having built a business. Like, it is so hard to get out of the way sometimes and let other people do what they're really good at. So TJ, question for you is that like, and this can be like maybe an intense question, is that like an insecurity thing? Or is that just like, I just don't know how to let go? Because I can say for me, it's been a bit of an insecurity thing. When I led a team, it was like, man, if I bring in all these people that are really killer and talented, like, what am I actually here to do? And do I have a job at the end of building this team who is way better at me than all the things that they do? So what is that for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think first, I'm the oldest child, so I think there's some of that. Oldest child, my wife, oldest child as well. And so like we talk about this a lot and connect over this of like you're just kind of literally wired to lead the way, I guess. Whether obviously 8-year-old, 10-year-old teenagers like they don't always do that the best way, but like that's how I was wired. Um, and so I think there's some of that of like, hey, I'm just going to figure this out. And I will say as an athlete too, there's a lot of like value in figuring it out. And so I think that yes, maybe it's a little bit of insecurity of like, hey, I think I can do this and do it well, and I trust myself to do it well. Um, and working out of that of, well, I'd probably actually get more value out of having someone else do it well. Like if someone comes up to you and says, what do you do? And you have a friend next to you, it's actually better if the friend explains what you do, because then it's like, it's less selfish is the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying there. It's like,
Yeah.
someone else is doing the talking for you. And I think about that comparison a lot, in relation to questions like this of, I'm going to get much more value out of, leading teams that can, do great work and build great things versus me just trying to like, yeah, white knuckle is a great word, Alex. So like white knuckle, work and then I'm probably not going to be as happy and not, get as much work done or as much value, efficiency, productivity, all of that. Like it's going to suffer. So for me, it's, you guys will know this, but you work in your business or you work on your business. I work very hard at like being intentional of trying to do both. I'm not saying I'm great at it. I'm not saying that I will ever be perfect at it, but it's important to do that, because otherwise you will suffer, and then the people around you will suffer too. So yeah, I think pouring into other people and just kind of removing yourself. I'm big into, Alex, we talked about this, like killing our ego.
Yep.
Very, very hard to do, but I think about that in relation to your question too.
Yeah, dude, 100%. That's so good. And something that I have had to learn in starting a business is like, I physically can't do it all on my own. Or if I try, like I'm going to bury myself in the business and never be able to work on the business. And it's never going to grow. It's always just going to be my limit and my ceiling. That's going to be the limit of the business. And I want it to be something far beyond what me and what I can bring to the table. So that's so good.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really helped me with my mindset around that is like learning that everything has a cost, not necessarily a monetary cost with everything, right? But like everything has a cost. So I think it's easier for us to like white knuckle it, because at the end of the day, sometimes we're like, well, it's just costing me and it's not necessarily costing the people around me, which most of the time I've found that I'm very blinded to the cost of, what it is doing to the people around me. And that's a very, small perspective or something to have around it. But when I can identify the costs of things ahead of time, like before, I think, and still happens a lot, but before, like starting things or jumping into things, even as a family too, right? Like we sign our boys up for soccer and baseball, and I'm like, geez, like I love it, right? Like I'm all about it, but I'm like, man, as a family, like what is this costing us for our time too? Because it's like we're starting down this path of this, and I love it. The boys love it, like they wanted to do it, but like everything has the cost. So what does this now mean for us as a family and our time together and our work schedules, and how do we adjust all that? And so trying to go about it that way sometimes really helps. I think me then realize like, oh, I can't do this on my own. So why am I trying to? Why am I wanting to, kill my marriage or kill my relationships or like all
Totally.
these things, right? Like, at the expense of whatever it is, this project or whatever it might be. So it's been
Mhm.
a really helpful way for me to look at it in the past and honestly right now too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's so good. TJ, I want to talk about, as we talk about starting something new, starting a new pursuit. If you were sitting down and having coffee with someone who is starting something new, you've been involved in a couple different startups, a couple different ventures. What would you tell them? What's some advice you would give someone starting a new pursuit? Maybe from something you've learned or something you wish someone had told
Mm.
you as you were starting or jumping into one of the things that you're a part of.
Yeah, I would say as quickly as possible, identify who you think is your customer or whose problem you're solving, and then go talk to them. So
Mm.
something um, I learned like pretty early on is, so let's use Slab as an example, actually. It feels like a lifetime ago, but part of that, like I said, my friends are like, "What are you doing creating a cutting board?" Well, it's because I went to my professor. He forced us to do this, but um, I went to Gander Mountain in outside of Chicago, Illinois, and I found random shoppers and I said, "Hey, if you were to like fillet a fish or you were camping, like what do you use to, cut vegetables or fillet a fish or even like a small like game hunting?" And the answers just like validated what I was searching for and shaped it. So like my initial idea for Slab like was not what we created, because I went and I talked to people that were much more cooler and outdoorsy than I was. I mean, I'm semi outdoorsy, but like not to the level of people I wanted to serve. And so the best way to start is going to talk to people whose problem you're solving. And I think another piece there is like, feel free to push back on me here, guys. But like, I used to think, okay, I have an idea, and like the first thing I need to do is build a website. And I would say like, I would tell everyone, do not do that.
Yeah,
Go and like so.
Yes.
agree.
And I'll kind of get back to why I'm sure why you agree, but like so. Guy I work with now, Dan Hanrahan here in Indy, joined him early in 2024 to build NeighborServe. He has like really guided me and wired me to, hey, if we want to sell whatever it is, or we want to build out, this new product. I thought he was crazy at first, but he's like, just get 3 or 4 bullets of what it's going to look like and why someone would care. And then just tell people that like, just start selling it. And for me, I was super uncomfortable. I'm like, well, one, you've never done it. Two, like we don't know how we're going to do it. But really, if you are, I kind of go back to this like 75 or 80% number. If you're 80% confident that you can deliver like something great or that you're going to figure it out, like you don't have to have everything solved today, then you should
Yes.
absolutely go do it. And so we just kind of introduced this. We were talking through something at NeighborServe, and I was like, this really isn't too scary. Like, I'm just going to bullet out 3 or 4 bullets. This is what I think it should look like, and like, let's just go do it. And over time, that becomes less uncomfortable. And Indianapolis, like to tie it to the city, is the best place to do what I just described because everyone,
Mhm.
one, is Midwestern and caring. They go together most
Yep.
of the time. Yeah. And they want to help. So like, I've really tried on right now in the process, like pushing against that. Like, I don't know. I don't want to ask for help. Like, just do it. I had coffee with someone this morning. Shout out to Ryan Short. He said, look, if someone tells you no, like you're going to go home, your wife's going to love you, your kids are going to love you, your friends are going to love you. So like
Mhm.
you'll get past it.
Mhm.
And that ties directly into like, just go have the conversations and just go try. Like I think if you do those 2 things, it just seems so much easier, even if
Yes.
the answer is the opposite of what you want. And then it gets you
Right.
closer to correct messaging. What should the
Right.
brand look and feel like, which therefore makes interactions with someone like yourselves easier, to kind of like
Yes.
tie that all together. So I love the question, and obviously I'm passionate about it. My answer has changed drastically over the last couple of years, but yeah, like how fast can you start and intentionally start?
Yes. Yeah, dude, I think that's so good. I think you're right. Like the number of people as we've started Creator Studio that I just sat down with and was like, here's the idea. Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
That we're willing to even just have coffee or lunch or whatever. Like, I don't know these people. They're blind connections on LinkedIn, or people have introduced me and like, hey, you should talk to so and so. And the number of people that are just willing to sit down and say, hey, like, yeah, I think that's great. Or have you thought about this? Or, right. Like I'm starting to do that again on another idea that I've got as kind of like another leg of our business down the road. And just asking people, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Like, what are your thoughts? The number of people who are likely going to say no to a coffee, a lunch, a conversation is very low. And you're right. Even if they tell you, hey, I don't think that's the thing, it's going to get you closer to what the thing could be. I also agree, like, don't go build a website. Don't just be like, I have an idea and I'm going to build a website. I'm the guy who like, I own a whole bunch of domain names. It's kind of like
Same.
a semi-unhealthy thing.
Same.
I haven't built websites for them because I'm waiting on them to become the right idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't just go build something and feel like you have to have it polished. I feel like that was the story of like when we launched Creator. I mean, Josh can attest to this. I just hit a freaking wall of like, I feel like this thing has to be 100%. It's got to be this big thing. It's got to be this big rollout. And I had people like Josh that were like, dude, let's just like roll it out and we'll iterate on it. We'll make it better as we go. We'll develop it. I think iteration is one of the most underrated parts of the creative process and the process of pursuing something new. Is that it's okay if you change things as you go. It's okay if you dial in messaging. It's okay if you tweak things.
Totally.
It doesn't have to be like the perfect thing from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we put so much of an emphasis, or just like there's just maybe this cultural pressure of perfection that we probably feel. And I've said this a bunch, and TJ, I think you'll appreciate this too. Is like when you think of the best hitters of all time in baseball, hitting 300 is awesome, right? Like, right? If I had a career 300 batting average, I would have loved that. And so it's like 7 out of the 10 times they're missing. They're getting the nose, and I think that back to even what Alex was saying is like, oftentimes we learn so much from those no's that point us in the right direction to get us to where we need to be to the yeses, and the no's are still going to come. They're probably always going to be there. And you're going to have, if you're selling a product, like you're always going to have people that don't buy your product, right? Like there's probably way more people that don't buy it than that do buy it. And there's more people that don't buy your services that do buy your services. And I think that there's just this mindset that we kind of need to just shift, I think, sometimes in how we view those things. And it's like, in some ways, like for me, it's like, it's all helpful. It's all helpful. And it's all getting me to where I want to go. Because I think if we go back to what we said at the beginning of this conversation is like, I think that this product or this thing is so good because it's so important to me. I see where it can be. And I do need those people to kind of guide me and direct me and tell me no, or, give me some boundaries as we talk about parenting too. It's like, I have to give my kids boundaries in their own curiosity, because I'm like, yeah, jumping off the trampoline may be fun, but may not be the best way to do this, so it's like, there's just these moments that I think the older I get, I just have valued those almost sometimes more than just the people that have, been all like, yes, right away, and like I definitely appreciate when people are like, get it, like right away, right? Like, yeah, this is awesome. But I've come to value so much that feedback, or that hard feedback that I've been given, when at times, like, even it felt so personal, because I was like, man, this is so deeply ingrained in me, or I've created this thing that I just love, and you hate it. Oh man, like that hurts, right? But then we can talk, we can have this dialogue and this conversation about constructive feedback and criticism and all these things to help us get to a better place in the end.
Totally. Yeah, I
That's
think
good.
two things on that is like if everyone said yes, you probably have to change something, right? It's like you probably should cost more. Is usually what
Yeah,
people
right.
say. Um, but then another piece is I had coffee. Oh boy, like probably a year ago now with Dave Neff. He's CEO of like NIL at Purdue for the athletic department there, and very well connected guy. Like one of those where I was sitting with Dave and like we knew a lot of the same people, but I'm like he's a busy guy. He's taking time. He's being
Yeah, for
super
sure.
kind, um, and he told me something that I have shared 100 times since. He was like, TJ, when you sit down with someone, like it's not a yes or no. And he wasn't telling me that I was approaching it that way, but like it's not just yes or no, right? Like Indy is a special place, and specifically, this probably could apply to anywhere. But if they say yes and like you can help someone, great, because we're creating a new product and service, so there's a lot of messaging and education that goes on with it. But he's like, if someone says no, it's like well, they probably know someone that you could help. They probably know someone you should introduce you to, and if you're just intentional and caring and willing to help, uh, like there's this everyone I meet, it's unbelievable, says like, how can I help you? And
Mm.
I was so uncomfortable with that at first. Like, Alex, you asked me that question. And like now I asked the same, because I had people that are 20, 25 years older than me say, look, don't think that you can't help. Like if people are hiring, guess what? You're close to people that we want to hire. And like, so I just think that leaning into whatever demographic slash like I guess the best piece there is like age of like
Yeah.
you can pour into someone no matter who they are or what role they're in. And that takes some self confidence of like thinking that you can help, right? That's probably the
Yeah,
biggest
for
piece of
sure.
it. Again, Midwestern, but um, yeah, that's what I think about a lot. And Dave's message there of like, it's not just yes or no has been
Mm.
formative for me.
Yeah, dude, that's so good. TJ, before we go, I do want to get folks to hear a little bit about the story of Neighbor Serve and the
Mhm.
thing you're building, right? We introduced you at the beginning. You're the head of home concierge, which is a super fancy title. But I think the story of what you guys are building and the way that you're going about it is a
Mhm.
really, really creative endeavor. And so I would love for you just to talk a little bit about like building Neighbor Serve, and then if there is anything on the horizon for you all
Yeah.
that you're super excited about as you continue to build this really, really great service for folks.
Yeah, so at NeighborServe, at a really high level, before I kind of get into the details, we connect indie homeowners with vetted local contractors. And so we go through it's on our website, but pretty strict vetting process where we find, we kind of have this hypothesis or philosophical thought that proximity drives service. So kind of back to my hometown of like, if I go over to help someone in their yard when I was 10 years old, well, they're going to know my parents. And if I don't do a great job, guess what? My parents are going to find out. Like that's
Yep.
a
Yeah.
elementary way to explain it. But like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
That was so
you,
good.
when you own a home service company, for example, and you're driving 2 miles to someone's home, like you're going to do great work and you're going to really care about people. And so this thought of proximity drive service and local curated hands-on are kind of what this was built on. I joined, like I said, Dan Hanrahan, who he started, amazing guy, but he started 4 or 5 companies, mostly in software. So we kind of connect over the software backgrounds. I worked at Lessonly, and then through the acquisition with
Mm.
Seismic before joining Dan to build NeighborServe. And um, he's lived in Indianapolis his whole life, so like cares about the city. I always say like me and my wife Andrea and our family will never move. Like such an amazing place. And so from a contractor side, like going to find the best local contractors, go through a vetting process. You have to be nominated by another contractor and or a homeowner to join the co-op. We say no to a lot of people. You have to be majority owned in Indiana. So just a
Mm.
lot of things like pour into this local curated hands-on. And then also serving like maybe the larger local companies, and then finding like this is what I love, like the underdogs, people that maybe have 3 trucks and are trying to build their business. Like how do we send them the most quality uh, leads that help create a relationship and business moving forward. And then from a homeowner side, we manage and organize people's homes. So we have kind of two plans. One is access to NeighborServe and all the vetted contractors and their offers through NeighborServe. And then the personal concierge is, I know it sounds fancy, but it's actually super hands on, and we manage and organize people's homes. So we go in, take a full inventory of someone's house. Imagine a busy family, busy professionals, dual income families, or business owners, and take serial model number of HVAC system, brand of appliances, how many windows do you have, and then our team created this, what we call the digital home hub. So we take all of your information and put it into a home hub, very similar to a financial advisor would take all of your resources and put it into one source of truth. Do the same thing from the homeowner side, and then we're the one call for your house. So every week we have someone, it seems to be dishwashers. I don't know why, but like, my dishwasher is broke. Well, guess what? We know the contractor. We can make an introduction. People feel like they're getting a fair price, priority service, and they don't have to deal with who in the world do I call? And they know that we kind of have their homes back, is what we say. Kind of cheesy, but we say that internally.
Yeah.
And so we've helped people with whole kitchen remodels to finding a new landscaper to, like I said, helping people fix their dishwashers. I have this like vendetta against dishwashers now and ice makers, but
Fair.
so
Yeah, fair.
when I joined Dan, it was kind of like, hey, this thought of home concierge can fuel the contractors. We don't charge like a per lead fee. We're not charging 10 or 15% on top of jobs. And I think that is really crucial, and like the integrity and the trust that goes into it is we're managing people's quotes, and we're truly like on your team. Our office is in Broad Ripple. We have clients that live 1 mile away. We have clients that live 10 miles away. Like I can, in the case of emergency, like I would just go. And I think that's really valuable. So it's almost like a managed service part of this business model that is truly built like a software company. And so philosophically, I won't go too deep, but like I believe in AI and automation, and I think it's like crucial. We're exploring a lot of it. We have a sprint day this coming week, like on all of that. But I also think the more the world moves that way, the more human interaction matters. Like if there's a problem, I will just call the person directly and say, hey, this isn't my favorite thing to do. But I want to make it right. And like the bar's set pretty low for that now, I think. And so that's been uncomfortable for me, but like really diving deep into to kind of wrap on your question, Alex, like what's on the horizon of like just building a company that is rooted in Indianapolis and connects people. That's really the core of it, is like we're building this little village of just like amazing contractors that are taking care of people you'd send to your mom's house. There's a lot that goes into that, but I think that's the most simple way to describe it. And we've, just over a year, made a ton of progress and had a lot of change. And, as far as exciting things coming up, partnering with one of the largest real estate brokerages in Indianapolis. So all their realtors will get access to a co-branded version of NeighborServe that trickles down to all their new homeowners you can think of a new homeowner, someone we can help and serve really well, make an impact. So some really exciting, like we're a tech enabled company, and that's a tech enabled opportunity. And so just diving deep on all those things. But it's been great to kind of see the impact and build something from from scratch. Sounds like a lot riskier now when I went and sat down with Dan. But he's right. It's been a great experience.
That's so good, man. And I just love that, like all of those things coming together, the local aspect, a tech enabled company, really bringing together skills in spaces that people may not have traditionally said, oh, we're going to build this tech enabled platform for homeowners to really manage one of the biggest assets that they have that we don't often think about. And I just love the creativity in the problem solving that you, Dan, the team have put together in that. I think that's super awesome. TJ, this has been an incredible conversation. I've loved getting to have you on the show today, getting to chat, getting to learn more about you. If people do want to connect with you, if they want to learn about NeighborServe, if they want to connect with you directly, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you and to connect with you and all the different things that you're a part of?
Yeah, I always say, tell people you can, again, this is Josh back to the Central Illinois small town, but like you can call, text, or email in the middle of the night if you want. I'm probably, my wife gives me a hard time because I try to be intentional in responding and just, yeah, I'm a people person, but neighborserve.com. And then I feel like I'm fairly accessible via professionally LinkedIn. My email's there. I try to write really twice a week. I feel like I have a new baby, so that's probably slowing down a little bit, but it's just tj-essays.com. And so I do a lot of writing there. It's kind of ad hoc and my thoughts. And if people want to read it, great. That's what I always tell people. But a lot of that is connected to, creativity, entrepreneurship, NeighborServe, et cetera. So, but yeah, would love to sit down, share time with anyone.
Dude, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. We'll connect to all those places so you can connect with TJ, connect with his writing in the show notes. And we want to say thank you to all of you for joining us on another episode of Creative Belief. We hope that this podcast has reminded you that you are a creative who was made to create incredible things. So go and create something amazing today that makes the world a better place. TJ, thanks so much for joining us on this episode, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's a lot of fun.